Have you ever stopped to think about the history hiding in your own voice? It's kind of wild. We're about to unpack a story that isn't just ancient, it's alive, right now, breathing in the words you use every single day. So let's just jump right in.
Okay, so look at this sentence. This home is a gift to my kin. Sounds totally normal, right? You could say that right now and nobody would think twice. But what if I told you that simple sentence is basically a time machine?
Yeah, seriously. Every single one of those core words, home, gift, kin, is over 1,000 years old. They come straight from Old English. They're like little ghosts from a world of mead halls and warriors speaking to us right now.
So how is that even possible? Well, that's what we're going to dig into first. We're going to trace the DNA of our language and find out how this ancient world is, quite literally, speaking through you. Just think about it. The real core words of our lives. I'm talking about the basics: house, home, wife, child. The stuff of the earth, like, well, earth and bread. Even our deepest feelings: fight, love, hate. Or the most fundamental verbs: be, have, go. Almost all of them, straight out of Old English. They are the absolute bedrock of how we speak.
Okay, so now that you see how this stuff is still with us, let's rewind. Let's go back and see where this language, this whole culture, actually came from. And spoiler alert, this wasn't some peaceful, neat little transition. This was an identity born from absolute chaos.
So this timeline, it's basically a 600-year epic crammed into a few points. It kicks off around 410 when the Romans just leave. Britain is left to fend for itself. Then you get these massive migrations of Angles, Saxons, and Jutes. Fast forward a bit and bam, the Viking Age begins. Total chaos. This pressure actually forces these little kingdoms to start uniting, thanks to guys like Alfred the Great. And then it all comes to a crashing halt in 1066 with the Norman conquest. I mean, it is just a relentless story of collapse, invasion, and trying to build something new.
But, dates and battles only tell you so much. To really get these people, we have to go inside their heads. And to do that, we need to step into the center of their entire universe, the mead hall. And this wasn't just some big party room. It was everything. It was the heart of their society, this little pocket of warmth and light in what they saw as a very dark and very dangerous world.
So the mental operating system for an Anglo-Saxon warrior, it was a concept called weird. We translate it as fate, but it's deeper than that. This wasn't some whatever happens, happens kind of vibe. Weird was this inevitable, often pretty grim destiny that was already laid out for you. And here's the key. A hero didn't try to escape their fate. No way. A hero met it head on, with absolute courage. The goal was to face doom so bravely that your story would be told in the mead halls forever.
And what held their society together? The glue was something called comitatus. It was a sacred pact, a bond between a lord and his warriors. The deal was this. The lord gives out treasure. Rings, swords, gold, and he provides protection. In return, his warriors give him total ride-or-die loyalty. I mean, loyalty unto death. To survive a battle where your lord died, that was the worst possible shame. And to be exiled, to be lordless, that was basically a fate worse than death.
Okay, so we've got a world run by fate and this intense code of loyalty. Pretty hardcore. But what does any of that have to do with our lives today? Well, as we're about to see, that world didn't just vanish. It actually built the foundation of the world we're living in right now. Get a load of this number. 80%. That's right. Roughly 80% of the most commonly used words you speak every single day in English are from the Anglo-Saxons. It's staggering. It means the very rhythm, the very gut-level feel of our language is a direct inheritance from them. And it's not just words, not by a long shot. Their whole society was kind of a blueprint for ours. You see their shire, that's our county. You see their Wittengemot, this council of wise men who advise the king. Well, that's a direct ancestor of things like parliament. Even their legal ideas, like vergild or manprice, where you paid compensation to a victim's family to stop a cycle of revenge. That's the root of our modern compensation and justice systems. And of course, their legacy is all over the stories we absolutely love. I mean, think about J.R.R. Tolkien. The guy wasn't just a novelist, he was a world-class scholar of Old English. He didn't just dabble in this stuff. He basically mainlined its mythology and poured it straight into The Lord of the Rings. Honestly, the entire fantasy genre as we know it, the mead halls, the epic quests, the grim, duty-bound heroes, those wind-swept northern landscapes, it's all a massive echo of Anglo-Saxon sagas.
But it's not all fantasy novels and fun linguistic facts. This history comes with some serious baggage. There are myths we really need to bust, and some pretty heated modern controversies that we have to talk about. Okay, first up, let's kill the myth of the Dark Ages. The cliche, right? A bunch of savage barbarians running around in the mud. But the reality? We have evidence like the Sutton Hoo treasure, this mind-blowingly intricate stuff that shows a world of sophisticated art, complex law codes, and international trade. It wasn't dark, it was innovative and incredibly complex. And that leads us to a really tricky and very current question. Is the term Anglo-Saxon itself problematic? This is a huge debate happening right now among historians, and the answer is, well, it's complicated. So here's the deal. On one side, the term has been hijacked by some really nasty extremist groups to promote this false idea of racial purity. But the actual history tells a totally different story. The so-called Anglo-Saxons were a mix of peoples. Angles, Saxons, Jutes, Romano-Britons who were already there, and later a huge influx of Vikings. It was a melting pot. Their identity wasn't about race. It was about a shared culture and a shared language, English. And it's because of that historical complexity and the modern misuse that many scholars are now asking, should we be saying early English instead? I think this quote really nails it. When we look at this period, we're not looking at some pure single starting point. It's more like a mirror. And what we see is a complex, kind of messy, but absolutely fascinating picture of people in motion, colliding, mixing, and forging something completely new. And all of this really leaves us with one big final question to chew on. The story of the Anglo-Saxons, when you boil it down, is a 600-year-long answer to the question, how are new identities created from migration and cultural collision? When you look at it that way, you realize it's not just ancient history. It's a timeless human story, one that's still playing out right now all over the world.